Welcome to Tutoring 56. A couple of days ago, I published a video about games that you can play that help with addition and subtraction and all the rest of them. And the one I used was, here it is. It was the hundreds chart. At that time, I mentioned that I would show you another game that you can play with your students or your child. That can be lots of fun. And for those that are a little competitive or you want to increase the rate, they know their addition facts. You can do it. It's fun. It's playful. They can do it by themselves. They can do it against mom. It's just one of those games. Now the catch is it's called 10 speed. It looks like this. There's literally 2 decks, and I bought these 35 years ago. 35 years ago. My kids liked it. I personally bought it as a mom because it's the sort of thing I buy. And they had lots of fun with it. And then I used it with my students in the evening and in class. The catch is, I can't find it anymore. I have looked for it. Count my blessings, I still have all the cards. I was trying to find it so I could give you a link on where to buy it to support the people that made it. I have no idea where to find it. And what you're doing is you're laying out 8 cards and you're bringing them together to add up to 10. And 2 different people are playing, and you're seeing who can get rid of their cards the fastest. If you didn't make any addition mistakes, you will get rid of all your cards. Every deck of cards has 4 of each number. Okay? Simple as that. So, because I can't tell you where to get it, it's called 10 speed, so I'm going to give credit to the name of the card, the game. If anybody finds it, put it in the comments. Let me know so I can send it on to other people so you can support the company that actually came up with the game. But because I can't tell you where to buy it, my alternative is my good old index cards. You literally cut them in half. I literally have more times than not just folded them in half and then cut them. And then you write 1 on 4. You write 4 cards with a 1 on it, 4 cards with a 2 on it, 4 cards with 3 on it, all the way up to 4 cards with 10. This is one time, there is no 0. Okay? You do 1 set in 1 color of index cards, 1 set in another color of index cards. Okay? Simple as that. And then you can play the game. For classroom teachers, this would be the more financially affordable method than even if I could find the link to buying the full set. And the other one is, if you lose a card, it's not a big deal to make a new one with another piece of index card. We're trying to replace these would be very difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my camera around and show you how to play it. It's really easy. It's lots of fun. If I'm playing it with one, so when I was LD teacher, so the students would come just to my room and we would work on whatever subject matter they were struggling with. This would be a one-on-one, and one of the things I would do is have them play it by themselves, but I would graph it at the same time. So the first time they played it, they would get, say it took them a minute and a half, and we would graph it to see how much faster they were getting. Now the advantage to that is I am quietly graphing into them, and secondly, they're seeing that they're improving. And one of the things I've done, always encourage, is it's okay if it took you a minute and a half this time and it took you a minute and 40 seconds next time, as long as we can look at the general pattern of it going down. Okay, that would be, that's the idea. So if you're using it with one person, I would be doing the graphing because they can put 2 math concepts in there, but also they can see that they're getting faster and faster. Okay, we want to get them past adding on their fingers, especially when we get to the higher maths, even if it's just grade 8 maths, like enough math so they can work at the grocery store, or they have to make change for themselves, or they're trying to figure out how much they need for a craft in their home. It is to their advantage. It makes you feel good when you can add these things without having to go on this. Okay, so just let me turn my camera around and then we'll see how we play. Okay, we're back and we have my camera arranged. So now you've got your deck of cards. Do yourself a favor, make sure they're well mixed up and we're not getting like a 6 and 6 and a 6 and a 6 together, and that they're scrambled all together. So literally shuffle them up, and then literally all you're going to do is you're going to lay out 4 cards. Top line, 4 cards. Bottom line, if you lay them out too long, it gets too distracting. And then you're literally going to sit there and say, what 2 numbers add together to give you 10? So 7 and 3. That's it. Now, it's only 2 cards added together. You cannot add 3 together. It has to be just 2 cards. And when you can't add any more, then you cover them up. And if you're getting halfway through covering it up and you realize, oops, I missed, no. You're covering up. You've decided to go on to the next one. Okay, so again, we're going to do here. And again, we have a manufacturer who's got some smarts and has underlined the 6 because 6s and 9s when printed look exactly the same. So we're going with a 6 and a 4. Now we have a 10 here. The 10 by itself comes to 10. So that card by itself can go. Okay, and we're going to look. Oh, there's a 7 and a 3. And then we do this again. We just keep going. And every time we add, we have to do the whole row. We have to cover up all of the 8 spots. We can't just cover up one and go, ooh, I can add. No. You have to put down 8 every time. So 7 and 3. 8 and 2. 5 and 5. Do a good British thing and say you got doubles. 10 and 10. Oh, there's a 9. Has no line, so we know it's a 9. That's it. Okay, so we're going to cover it up again. Okay, and we have 8 and 2. We have a 6 and a 4. And it's covered up again. Okay, we have a 10. We have a 9 and a 1. We have a 9 and a 1. 8 and 2. 8 and 2. 6 and 4. 7 and 3. 5 and 5. 9 and 1. 9 and 1. Okay, and we've come here and we only have 1 pile left and I can't add it to anything, so you take it out and you shuffle up, because quite often you'll end up with more than 2. I just end up with 2 this time, and we're going to lay them out and go, okay, that's 6 and 4. Okay, if it's one person, like I said, graph it. Get them to see how their numbers are coming down, and you're having them reinforce their graphing concepts too. Now, if it's 2 of you, you've got 2 decks of cards going, that's great. If it's a parent doing it with a young child, do what I call, which is a handicap. Just like in golfing, where somebody who's really good at it will take 2 or 3 strokes, so the person who is not as good at golf has a chance of actually winning, or at least not getting completely slammed on the course. So what I will often do is I will just do it really, really slowly. I will find them. I won't let the student win really instantly. Very, very obvious, but I will just do it slower. Basically, if they're finding a pair every 2 seconds, I'll find a pair every 2 seconds. So I'm sort of keeping it at the same rate. That way they don't feel overwhelmed. And I've more than once said, they go, oh, you're so good at such and such. I'm like, yeah, but honey, I do this 7 days a week, right? Like literally, if I'm not with students in the evening or in the class, I'm sitting here prepping or trying out games to see if they actually work. My kids get tired of helping me try out new games. But that's the idea, okay? So that works, but that way, like I said, if you can't, then you could just use one of these. Just use index cards. The other one you can do, now you got to make sure you got a full deck of cards, okay? Is just use a regular deck of cards and get rid of the jacks, the queens, and the king, jack, queens, and kings. Because, right, there's a 1 to 10 in a regular deck of cards. But you'd have to have 2 decks of cards. And this would be a time when you're not going to worry about what the suits are. And that one will work just fine. I do know some houses don't have decks of cards. But there's 2 options. You can just go to a Dollar Tree or dollar store and buy El Cheapo deck of cards. I buy them cheap at Dollarama for classes, because students are students and they get used by 30 or 40 kids in a year. They don't survive very well. They do get well treated. Okay, so just okay, folks. Now that I got the camera turned around back to my gorgeous little face, that's just a nice, easy game. You can play in the evenings just using. It's called 10 Speed. I do not know who the publishers are. I wish I did. If any of you ever find out, just put it in comments, because then I can give them the honest credit for it. You know, whether it's Milton Berle or whoever, I'm not sure anymore because I've had them that long, but at least I can give them credit. So, like I said, if you haven't, because we can't get those, you can make them up on index cards. Remember, 4 of each number, 1 to 10, or use a regular deck of cards. Just make sure that you're removing the Jack, Queens, and Kings. And then you're literally just going to use the cards for their face value. It's one of those times that the suit doesn't matter. All right? Another lovable thing that math teachers just love is a deck of cards. Okay, there you go. Nice and easy. It's the second half of that video I published a couple of days ago, all about some math games. I do have one coming where we're going to, and I mentioned it in the last video, of ratios and combining ratios and art. So you have a little cross-curriculum idea that you can get your students to do. I am coming up with some other ones where they can do some cooking. I just have to figure out my camera angles in my kitchen so I can show you how I'm doing it in the kitchen. Okay, so there you go. Take care, enjoy the weather, and enjoy your day. Take care, folks.